All right, in this demo, we're going to look at Aembit's extended AI and workload identity federation support. So in this demo, I'm going to specifically be showing OpenAI's WIF integration. And to do that, let me first make some API calls and show you how this thing works. So I have an agent that makes multiple calls to different LLMs. We're going to go ahead and run that first. So it's making calls to Claude, OpenAI, and Gemini. And I have a couple of them configured, so you'll only see results from a couple of them. But I want this to run, and then we'll go take a look. So you can see Claude return some results. I'll have a separate demo on Claude WIF. And then OpenAI is also sending back results. That's the one we're going to go ahead and look. And then Gemini, Bard, I'll have a video for that a little bit later. But OpenAI is the one we want to take a look at. And if I go and look at the script real quick, we can see here that I'm making the call to api.openai. And you can see here I also inject a bad bearer token, but it still works because our proxy will see that and it'll remove it and inject the right thing. So now that we see how this is working, let's go ahead and look at the config. So the first thing we have to set up is a credential provider. And I have this already set up. I'm just going to walk you through how this thing actually works. So we have an OIDC issuer URL. This becomes us. And then the two things that I have to get from the OpenAI platform is the identity provider ID and the service account ID. And then there's different audiences you can use. This is basically the default one in OpenAI, and I'll show you where that's configured. So all you really have to do is populate this. And then when I click verify, of course, we can see it verified successfully. And I have an access policy here that's going from my Kubernetes pod to OpenAI. You can see here it's using API, openai.com. And it's getting the information from the credential provider, the WIF that we just configured. And if I give it a second, you will probably see that these calls are being made. It's using OpenAI WIF. It's retrieving the token. It's injecting it. So even if you hard code something or you hard code the wrong thing, like I have in my example, we'll remove the bad authentication that's there and we'll inject the proper one. So we know this is working. Now let's take a quick look at how you configure this credential provider. So as I mentioned, you need to get an identity provider ID and a service account ID. So when you log into platform.openai, you go to settings, you go to members. The first thing you need to do is configure this service account. So I have mine configured, and here is where you get the user ID, and that's the service account ID that I have copied here. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to go set up the OIDC bits. So you go to the organization settings, and then here you go to security, you go workload identity provider. So this is the tenant I'm showing you now. And then under here, you have to configure a couple different things. And I'll show you in this view. This is kind of the config view. You give it a name. I'm using this key sub, and I'm using workload, capital ID, :*. So pretty much any workload for me is going to be usable. And then you will select the service account. This is the one that I had created earlier, and I only have the default project. That's the one that's shown here. And then once you say save, you'll have your you'll have the, let's go back here. You'll have this provider ID. This is the one that I copy and I put here. And then again, this is the one from the service account. And that's pretty much it. Once that's configured, you hit verify and you can see that it's working. As long as you have the policy, you'll be able to make calls using short-lived tokens rather than a long-lived API key. All right, to learn more, please visit Aembit.io. Thank you.